Yeah, so let me jump back in. I was leaving off before. I was saying about in the Bill degree and not in parts of the God degree. Elijah comes in and he says, and he asks, why does he like the devil? Answer, because the devil told him to eat the wrong foods. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Parts of because the devil, excuse me. Why does he like the devil? Because the devil planted fear in him when he was a little boy. Why does he fear the devil now that he's a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. Knowledge degree, does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Now we know the 10th degree right here is not a question, it's actually a answer to the born degree. And the born degree is asking, why does he fear the devil now that he is a big man? Knowledge degree, because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. Knowledge degree, does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? So that's why we got to understand it's also English lesson as well, because we know that the knowledge degree is not a question, it's actually an answer to the born degree. And the born degree is asking, why did he fear the devil now that he is a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. You know? And if you break down that knowledge degree, knowledge cipher, born back to knowledge, my name is Wrong Food Muhammad. That's them wrong foods. So yeah. Knowledge degree. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Now we know the above question number 10 we have to go back to the knowledge cipher degree and the student enrollment, which is what is the said birth record of nations other than Islam? Answer. Buddhism is 35,000 years old. Christianity is 551 years old. Now, we know it's more so speaking upon Christianity being 551 years old because of Christianity is what made him other than his own self. And when it says so, what is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. So that's why they asked, what is the said birth record of nations other than Islam? So Christianity is what made him other than his own self. So now some people got their lessons like they got the 1 to 36 last, you know what I'm saying, or after the 1 to 14 or after the 1 to 10. So they might refer that above question number 10 to the knowledge cipher degree in the 1 to 14, which is why does Muhammad any Muslim murder the devil? What reward does Muslim receive by having and presenting 4 devils at one time? And but how I see it making sense is if it adds up with the knowledge type degree in the 1 to 40, which is who is that mystery God? Answer, is not a mystery God. The Son of Man has searched for that mystery God for trillions of years and was unable to find the mystery God. So they have agreed that the only God is the Son of Man. So they lose no time searching for that which does not exist. So that would kind of add up as far as being the wrong foods, because they taught us to believe in a spook which doesn't exist. We wasted mad time on that. Like I said also, saying F.Ood is not a law to me because he's not the original black man. As the lessons state that the original black man is God, not a half original man. So the half original man is not a law. So F.Ood ain't a law. You know what I'm saying? That's just facts. So, but it's referring to, if you draw it up to the 1 to 10, the above question being the 10th degree and the 1 to 10, it would be who is this? What is the set birth record of nations other than Islam? Answer. Buddhism is 35,000 years old. Christianity 551 years old. So as we go on, it explains. It says, yes, that made him other than his own self. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. Are there any Muslims other than... Oh, yeah, so his own self is a righteous Muslim. So if his own self is a righteous Muslim, then his own self couldn't be a Christian or even a Buddhist if that was the case. You know what I'm saying? It would be more so a righteous Muslim according to these lessons. I'm not saying that the gods or the 5% are Muslims. I'm explaining Muslim lessons. You know what I'm saying? So how you got some guys be like, no, those ain't Muslim lessons, those are lessons. Well, it says right there on the title, Lost Found Muslim Lessons. It doesn't say Lost Found 5% of lessons or Lost Found God lessons. It says Lost Found Muslim Lessons. So, and deal with that, with the signs of that too, lost and found. Did somebody lose them and who found them? I think the now cipher I, might have lost them and Allah might have found him. When he found him in his right state of mind, which is why he was said to be off the clock. You know what I'm saying? And off the clock got many meanings. You know what I'm saying? And one of the meanings it means to me is that he wasn't necessarily indoctrinated by the lessons. He wasn't necessarily one of those who was just a follower. You know what I'm saying? He was able to see beyond, just what was written. You know what I'm saying? And draw up his own understanding. You know what I'm saying? And see who he was within those lessons. And that's why he came to the realization of who he was, which was Allah. So, and every black man does the same thing because he taught us that we are the same as well. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so now I was pointing out the contradictions. Now, peep what he said thus far. So now, remember, contra means to go, means word. Contra means against, and diction means word. So a contradiction means to go against your word. So now let's see what was said so far, and then if anything goes against what was said. So now we up to the knowledge understanding degree. What is his own self? Knowledge culture degree. His own self is a righteous Muslim. Knowledge power degree. Are there any Muslims? Any Muslims? Are there any Muslims other than righteous? I beg your pardon. I've never heard of one. Oh yeah, now remember, this is supposed to be F.Ood, and it's supposed to be F.Ood and Elijah in these degrees, right? And Elijah comes in first at the God degree. You know what I'm saying? The God comes in, he says, why does he like the devil? You know what I'm saying? Answer, because the devil planted fear in him when he was a little boy. Why does he fear the devil now that he's a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? You know what I'm saying? So now you got Elijah in the God degree, F.Ood in the build degree, build destroy degree. Elijah comes back in the born degree, then F.Ood in the knowledge cipher degree, Elijah in the knowledge degree, F.Ood in the knowledge wisdom degree, Elijah in the knowledge understanding degree, F.Ood in the knowledge culture degree, and then in the knowledge power degree, Elijah comes back and asks one of the most prevalent questions in the whole lesson. It says, are there any Muslims other than righteous? So knowledge power. Are there any Muslims other than righteous? Any. So now F.Ood comes back in the knowledge equality degree and says, I beg your pardon, I never heard of one. I never heard of one. He didn't say I never heard of, maybe there's some somewhere, maybe there. He said, I beg your pardon, I never heard of one. I've never heard of one. Like, what? Like, I beg your pardon, what'd you say? I beg your pardon, I never heard of one. For real? Okay. So Elijah wasn't dumb. You know what I'm saying? Elijah wasn't stupid. He was like, and he wasn't afraid to ask questions. See, and that's also too. And it's, as a student and a teacher relationship, you can't be afraid to ask questions. Because if you don't ask questions, you ain't going to know what it is that you're seeking. So you have to ask questions. Even if the question may seem like it's questioning the teacher. It's no disrespect. But you have to question because you want to know. And they say the student's supposed to become wiser than the teacher. You know what I'm saying? And rightly so if the teacher was a good teacher. And not to say that the teacher wasn't a good teacher. Because some people, don't want to learn. Some people act like they don't want to learn. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, and all that type of stuff. But, if someone's being taught correctly, and they say he was being taught for 3.5 years by F.Ood. So, But anyway. So, and maybe something wasn't sounding right. So let's see what wasn't sounding right. His own self what is his own self? Elijah asks. F.Ood says his own self is a righteous Muslim. Then Elijah asks, are there any Muslims other than righteous? F.Ood answers in the knowledge equality degree, I beg your pardon, I never heard of one. Okay, you never heard of one. So now knowledge God degree, Elijah asks, how many Muslim sons are there in North America? How many Muslim sons are there in North America? Now, we go to the next degree, and the next degree is stating that answer approximately 3 million. Knowledge build degree, approximately 3 million. F.Ood answers Elijah's question. Elijah asks him, how many Muslim sons? First he asks him, are there any Muslims other than righteous? And he says, I beg your pardon, I never heard of one. Then Elijah asks, how many Muslims are there? How many Muslim sons are there in North America? And F.Ood answers, approximately 3 million. Now hold on one second, y'all. We might have to do a little research real fast. You know what I'm saying? We gonna take a little trip real fast to the 1 to 14. Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1. And let's see what it says there. Okay. We on the born degree in the 1 to 14. And it asks, why does Muhammad make the devil study from 35 to 50 years before he can call himself a Muslim son and wear the greatest and only flag of the universe? And why must he add a sword to the upper part of the holy and greatest universal flag of Islam? Answer, so he can clean himself up. A Muslim, and they must be referring to the original Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Pastor, let me cross reference back to the 1 to 36 real fast. Because after F.Ood says approximately 3 million, Elijah asks another question. He says, how many original Muslims are there in North America? And F.Ood answers in the Wisdom Cipher degree, a little over 17 million. So now that's a distinction between Muslim sons and original Muslims. There's original Muslim and then there's a Muslim son. So they just showed a distinction between the two. So when it says that a Muslim and a born degree, right now we're going back to the 1 to 14, and the born degree, when it says a Muslim does not love the devil regardless of how long he studies, it's speaking of the original Muslim. Obviously, they're not speaking of the Muslim son. So after he has devoted 35 to 50 years to try to learn to do like the original man, so obviously this type of person is whoever is studying him from 35 to 50 years is not the original man. He's trying to learn to do like the original man. Or you know what I'm saying? He could come and do trading among us, and we would not kill him as quick as we would the other devils, that is, who have not gone under the study. That goes to the labored Masons, as someone told me earlier. After he has gone through this labor from 35 to 50 years, we permit him to wear our holy flag, which is the sun, moon, and stars. And he must add his sword to the upper part. The sword is the emblem of justice, used by the original man in Muhammad's time. Thus, it was placed on the upper part of the flag so that the devil could always see it, and keep in mind that any time he reveals the secret we have given him, this chance to clean himself up and come amongst us, his head will be taken off by the sword. The holy flag of Islam is the greatest and only flag known in the universe. The universe is everything: sun, moon, and stars. They are planets. Planets is something that were made or grown from the beginning. Holy is something that has not been mixed, diluted, or tampered with in any form. So now, peace to Edward King in the building, King Math in the building, peace to Original Just in the building. I appreciate your attendance. So now, in the beginning of the degree, it says that, so he can clean himself up. A Muslim does not love the devil regardless of how long he studies. After he has gone through this devoted 35, 50 years to try to learn to do like the original man, you know what I'm saying? So he has to study and go through labor to clean himself up from 35 to 50 years. So this is before he can call himself a Muslim son. You know what I'm saying? So he has to go through a process before he can do so. He's not like the original Muslim who's just born, you know what I'm saying, like that. He has to go through a process. And that shows and proves that obviously he's not righteous by nature. He's not born righteous. And this is why he has to go through a process. So now going back to the 1 to 36. when when Farad asked, "Are there any Muslims other than righteous?" And Farad says, "I beg your pardon, I've never heard of one." I don't mean to spend so much time emphasizing this because like I already know it, but I'm emphasizing it so y'all can like get it in y'all head. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, really like look at this, study this, you know what I'm saying? See what this is saying. And this is fact. Like this dude is contradicting himself. Wrong Food Muhammad is contradicting himself. You know what I'm saying? So now we go back. He says, and Elijah says, okay, are there any Muslims other than righteous? I beg your pardon. I've never heard of one. Okay, so how many Muslim sons are there in North America? Oh, now all of a sudden there's approximately 3 million. Oh yeah, you must have forgot that or something. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, approximately 3 million. Are there any original Muslims in North America? I mean, how many original Muslims are there in North America? A little over 17 million. So now, this is a contradiction where he contradicted himself. He said he never heard of one. But then in the next question, when he's asked how many Muslim sons are there in North America, he says approximately 3 million. So how do you go from you haven't heard of one to approximately 3 million? Like, did you just trip up in your words or something? Did you stumble? Did you fumble? I think something went wrong right there. You just contradicted yourself. Wrong Food Muhammad. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing this? Why is he contradicting himself? Like, is he trying to hide something? You know, I'm gonna have to thicken the layers of this mist as we go along, so you can see, you know, what I'm saying, how heavy this mist is before it distills. You know, what I'm saying, and I ain't trying to make nobody distill over there Farad. I ain't trying to make you cry over your Farad. If that's your Allah and you got him up on your wall and you like, yo, this is Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Christians got Jesus up on their wall. This is God, the Son of God, and the image of Jesus Christ. Okay, that's cool. You know, that's on you because nobody ever seen Farad. So technically, wouldn't he be a mystery God? Only person ever seen him was Elijah and a couple of other people that say they seen him. But however, none of the followers of the now Cypher I have seen Farad. So technically, if that's their Allah, he's a mystery God to them. And I guess, you know, saying me technically being that I never seen the Father, Allah, in my physical time, Allah would be a mystery God to me. But no, there's record, there's video. Everybody just seen the video of the Father on live, in person, live in the physical flesh, you know what I'm saying? Vivid as ever. You know what I'm saying? So we know the Father was real. We know the Father was here. We got people that are still living that can testify and say, yo, yeah, I walked with Allah. This man was here in the flesh, walking among us, teaching us, building with us. You know what I'm saying? So the Father was not a mystery. You know what I'm saying? And we have a lot of documented history, so many pictures, so many, not just, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're not worshiping pictures, but like I said, that's why I say I gave reference to the video footage also to show that they captured this man on camera. You know what I'm saying? Like he was live, he was actual. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't no Wizard of Oz. He wasn't a man behind the curtain with a loud voice telling you this and that. You know what I'm saying? Nah, he was real. He was live. He was actual fact. So the Father was real. You know what I'm saying? And we can show and prove to that. We can attest to that. You know what I'm saying? There's military records. There's, you know what I'm saying, a death certificate. You know what I'm saying? Birth certificate. This man lived. He was live. He was real. We don't have none of that evidence for Farad. You know what I'm saying? So, and this, you know, Wrong Food Muhammad, you know what I'm saying, wasn't even written in some of the now Cypher I literature that Farad used to go to people's homes and he used to eat swine with them. Whatever they ate, he would eat with them, you know what I'm saying, as a way of, you know, befriending the people and coming and, you know, being a people among the people, as they would say. And he would do these things, you know what I'm saying? Like, now, Cypher, I'm not about to eat no swine with somebody to teach them to not eat swine. Like, what was he sitting at the table chewing on the pork chop bones? Talking about, yo, man, y'all know this pork is killing y'all, right? You know what I'm saying? Y'all know this swine ain't no good for y'all, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Black people, y'all got to get off this swine, man, because y'all are the ancient Asiatic black nation, the tribe of Shabazz, and y'all need to stop eating this swine. Like, come on, man. Hey, get out of here, man. It's like that dude in the Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking juice in the hood. He's like, red fish, blue fish. Oops, I'm out of time. My bacon smelling fine. Like, man, get out of here with that, man. Wrong food, Muhammad ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so moving on. So y'all seen that contradiction, right? He said there was only that he never heard of one, and then all of a sudden there was 300 million. And then Elijah asked him a knowledge born degree because he wanted to make knowledge born. Okay, how many original Muslims are there in North America? Wisdom Cipher, a little over 17 million. Okay. So now he attested to there being a little over 17 million original Muslims. Now he says, do you mean to say that some of the 17 wisdom knowledge degree, wisdom knowledge degree, Elijah asks, do you mean to say some of the 17 million do not know they are Muslims? F.Ood answers in the wisdom degree, yes, sir. Now, do the knowledge, right? Because some people might try to attribute that to say, oh, well, a little over 17 million, and then they go back to the 1 to 10 and they say, oh, the 17 million plus the 2 million Indians, you know what I'm saying, equaling a total of 19 million, 4 billion, 400 million over planet Earth. But do the knowledge, he's asking, do you mean to say that some of the 17 million, the original Muslims, do not know that they are Muslims? And he says, and F.Ood says, yes, sir. So they wasn't pertaining to the 2 million Indians who Elijah taught were exiled from India 16,000 years ago for worshiping idols and things other than Allah. And I'd say that Allah is a thing, you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Worshiping idols and so forth and entities other than the supreme being, Allah. So he says, do you mean to say that some of the 17 million do not know they are Muslims? So some of those 17 million original Muslims do not know they are Muslims. And that's why I say, okay, so then how could they still be considered Muslims? Shouldn't they have to go through a process like the Muslim sons? No, because they are born Muslim. They're Muslim or ones of peace by nature. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they automatically fall into that 17 million original Muslims, whether they're conscious or not. You know what I'm saying? And that's the, not saying that's a good thing to not be conscious, but that's the everlasting quality about the black man being God, is that he's God whether he's conscious of being God or not. You know what I'm saying? Now we would say, now say for God, if he ain't got knowledge of self, he ain't God. You know what I'm saying? Da, 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 da. Man, the black man genetically is God because he's the original man with the dominant gene. So even if he's walking around dumb, deaf, and blind, he's still the supreme being with the supreme genetics that fathered all civilization, that fathered all people on the planet. So that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? You can never take that away from the black man, any black man. You know what I'm saying? Whatever state condition he may be. You know what I'm saying? That bum on the corner, he's God in his essence, in his being. He may not be God in his consciousness, meaning he's living out the high qualities of the higher self of being a divine being. He may be in his lower self and going through his trials and tribulations in his lower self. But all in all, he is Allah. All in all, because Allah is the all in all. So so going back, so so do you mean to say that some of the 17 million do not know they are Muslims? And F.Ood answers, yes, sir. Wisdom understanding degree. I can hardly believe that unless they are blind, deaf, and dumb. So after Elijah asks, do you mean to say some of the 17 million do not know they are Muslims? And then F.Ood answers, yes, sir. And then Elijah says, I can hardly believe that unless they are blind, deaf, and dumb. And that's why I'm saying, like, say even if the black man is not conscious of who he is, he's still who he is. You know what I mean? But Elijah was like, well, I can hardly believe that. So I can hardly believe that unless they're blind, deaf, and dumb. Now he's about to make an excuse and blame it on the devil, blame it on the white man. Okay, here we go. Wisdom culture degree. Well, they were made blind, deaf, and dumb by the devil when they were babies. Word? That's what happened? Okay. So can a devil fool a Muslim? So after F.Ood answers, and he says, well, they were made blind, deaf, and dumb by the devil when they were babies. Elijah comes back and he says, wisdom power degree. Can the devil fool a Muslim? Wisdom equality. F.Ood says, no, not nowadays. Not nowadays. Okay. So wisdom God degree. Do you mean to say that the devil fooled them 379 years ago? F.Ood answers, wisdom builder Shoy degree. Yes, a traitor. A traitor. Now he's speaking about the traitor. Okay, now you got many characteristics in this degree. You got F.Ood, you got the uncle, you got the devil, you got the traitor, you got the Muslim son, you got the original Muslim, you know what I'm saying? You got their own people, you know what I'm saying? You got all these different characters, right? So let's break down these characters. Like, who was the traitor? Who exactly was the traitor? You know what I'm saying? And, before we even go into that now, they say F.Ood was supposed to be born in Mount Timon, which is in Arabia, right? It's supposed to be from Arabia, right? Now we know about the Arab slave trade. If you know your history, you know about the Arab slave trade. So even though we read this 1 to 36, and we go back and we talk about, 1555, John Hardy Hawkins and all of that. But remember, the white man didn't know the routes. So who knew the routes to show the white man how to capture the slaves and all of that? It was these Arabs, Portugal, you know what I'm saying? Many other peoples and some of our own, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying, more specifically dealing with the Arab slave trade, which preceded the the transatlantic slave trade. The Arab slave trade, and was even more brutal. You know what I'm saying? We think the white man did some shit to us, some Arabs had us on some bullshit too. But, so F.Ood's supposed to be an Arab who was coming to trade silks and things of that nature, right? For gold, right? He wanted to get that currency, right? For gold, right? And all of that, right? He said he was coming and trading silks, things that he knew people couldn't afford, but he would use, as they say, he would use these lavish materials to attract the people and be able to come into their homes with his fancy suits and sit down and eat swine with them and sit down and eat the wrong foods with them and then teach them about their ancient history. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so he says the traitor, yes, the traitor made an interorientation, some lessons say interpretation, that they would receive more gold for their labor, which was more than they were earning in their own country. But now, before when he says they were made, part stuff. Well, they were made blind, deaf, and dumb by the devil when they were babies. You know what I'm saying? So he blames that on the devil, and he says, well, when they were blind, deaf, and dumb when they were babies. But wait a minute. And he says, do you mean to say? And he says, well, can the devil fool a Muslim? He says, no, not nowadays. He said, do you mean to say they fooled them 379 years ago? Yes, the trader made an orientation. You know what I'm saying? So now, if they were fooled 379 years ago, and you're saying that they can't be fooled nowadays, then why it takes so long for the people to find out they was over here? Kind of jumping up a little bit. But why would it take so long for the people to find out they was over here? Oh, because their own people didn't know they were over here. So if their own people didn't... Hold up. Let me go through the degree real fast. So now it says, so did they receive more gold? No. Elijah asked, wisdom born degree, did they receive more gold? Understand the cipher? No, the trader disappeared and there was no one to speak their language. The trader disappeared and there was no one to speak the language. Now, let's refer this back to Wrong Food Muhammad. Didn't Elijah teach that he had met F.Ood for 3.5 years, and then all of a sudden F.Ood had disappeared? You know what I'm saying? They said he disappeared, right? And there was no one to speak the language. And you know how Elijah was kind of mild in his speech. So who was there to speak the language? Or was the language spoken through the lessons that was written or the lessons that was left? So all in all, he came and he traded these silks or sold these silks and so forth, and he really traded this information for whatever profits he got. And he got his gold and then he disappeared. You know what I'm saying? On some realness, that's what happened. He got his gold and then he disappeared. So y'all want to know who the trader was in the 1 to 36? We gonna find out when we get to the 36th degree. So why did they? Elijah asked, did they receive more gold? Farad says no. The trader disappeared and there was no one to speak the language. Just like he disappeared and there was no one to speak the language. You know what I'm saying? This dude disappeared. They didn't say, oh, he jumped on this flight and he took exactly this plane and his plane was going to so and so. You know what I'm saying? Because then they say like he left him at the airport or something like that. He met Farad at the airport and I think they departed at the airport, right? You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. So all in all, or however Farad departed, Elijah explained it as he disappeared. You know what I'm saying? As if like he was just no longer around and nobody knew where he was. But, they say that he's up in the mother plane and he's, in this big spaceship and stuff like that. And, he's eating bean soup and something like that to survive. So, yeah, um, you know, that's what was told to us. Now, if we believe that, is that the right food or the wrong food? For those who believe in those type of mysteries and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Mysterious things like that about this dude. That's kind of mysterious to me. I'm not into the spookism. So I'm trying to make it literal, I'm trying to make it real. But anyway. So now it said then what happened? They wanted to go back to their own country but could not swim 9,000 miles. So Elijah said in the knowledge life degree, then what happened? So after the trader disappeared and there was no one to speak the language, then what happened? Well, they wanted to go back to their own country but could not swim 9,000 miles. Now, wait a minute. If the trader disappeared and there was no one to speak the language, how do you know what they wanted to do and that they wanted to go back to their country but couldn't swim 9,000 miles? How you don't know they said, we just gonna stay where we at? You know what I'm saying? Fuck it, we good. You know what I'm saying? Just like a lot of black people right now. Niggas don't want to go back to Africa. They good where they at. You know what I'm saying? But, but anyway, who was there to tell you these things? So after you say the trader disappeared and there was no one to speak the language, that should be the end of the story. You shouldn't even know any more information after that. You know what I'm saying? If the trader disappeared and there was no one to speak the language, then how did you get this information? Who told you? How did you find out? So anyway, you know what I'm saying? So then what happened? You know what I mean? And he answers with understanding wisdom. Well, they wanted to go back to their own country but could not swim 9,000 miles. Understanding understood. Why didn't their own people come over here and why didn't their own people come and get them? Understanding culture. Because their own people did not know they were over here. Now wait a minute. Let's go back to that understanding degree where it says my uncle was brought over here 379 years ago. Hold on, wait a minute. Because their own people did not know they were over here? Well, who is their own people? Is that you and your people? Because you're supposed to be the savior that arrived, right? So is that supposed to be you and your people? So then how did you and your people find out? So that Alfonso could have this baby with this Caucasian woman to know that he needed to make you a certain complexion and all of that so you could infiltrate into America and do your divine duty. How did he know that? Where did he get the information from? Because remember, the trader disappeared and there was no one to speak the language and their own people didn't even know they was over here. So there was a trader that came, tricked them, and so forth, disappeared, and there was no one to speak the language, and their own people didn't know they were over here. How the heck you know? How do you know this? Where did you get the information? Where did Alfonso get the information that he needed to make a savior to come and get his own people? See what I'm saying? Because this is some BS, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And this is no disrespect, man, but I'm breaking it down and I'm showing you who the actual trader is. And I told you I will reveal that when we get to the understanding equality degree. And if you understand equality, you will see. Boom. He says approximately 60 years ago. Not exactly, approximately 60 years ago. So now, if and of course we know 60 years ago is according to the date of this writing, right? Now, if you go back, and the date of this writing is February 20th, 1934. And if you go back approximately 60 years from that date, it'll bring you to the year 1877, which is the birth date of Farad Muhammad, of F.Ood Muhammad. And why does it bring you right back to that date? And that's technically 57 years from 1934. If you go back 1934, 57 years, it brings you to 1877, which is the birth date of Farad Muhammad. So, therefore, he is now able to make himself the savior. Because now understanding equality, born. And now the cipher's representation of knowledge through born. So that's why I see this 1 to 36 as a cycle or a loophole. If you ask me, because he's been loopholing the whole way through. And now the 36 degree is a loophole which will bring you back to the knowledge degree, because go from knowledge to born back to knowledge. So the knowledge, the understanding equality, being born to born, and then you're gonna go back to the knowledge degree. And why does it go back to the knowledge degree? Because when did their own people find out they were over here? Approximately 60 years ago. And if you come back approximately 60 years ago, it will bring you to, like I said, the birth date of F.Ood Muhammad. And then that would mean to say that, oh, we go back to the knowledge degree. My name is F.Ood Muhammad. I came to North America by myself. My uncle was born over here 379 years ago. Now let's go through this again with a new lens. Now that I done showed you the contradictions in it, now let's go back through it so you can see. Let's stick in the layers. You know what I'm saying? Let's zoom in on the lens, so to speak. So now it says, so now when you go to that 36 degree, approximately 60 years ago, which brings you to which brings you to F.Ood Muhammad. My name is F.Ood Muhammad. I came to North America by myself. My uncle was brought over here by the trader 379 years ago. Now wait a minute. Okay, your uncle was brought over here by a trader, but you came over here by yourself. Wow, man, you a ill dude, man. Like, how you do that, man? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how? Wait, how? You know what I'm saying? Word, you by yourself? Damn. You came on a plane? Oh, and doesn't it say that Elijah met F.Ood in the airport? So that means you came by a plane. You know what I'm saying? According to the story. So if you came by a plane, you know what I'm saying? But it says your uncle was brought over here by a trader 379 years ago. So the uncle was brought by a trader, but you came by yourself. Okay? Man, you a bold dude, man. You a bad mamma jamma. And you say that your uncle was brought over here by the trader 379 years ago. Your uncle does not talk his own language. He does not know he is your uncle. But you know that he's your uncle? He don't know you, but you know him? Okay. How do you know him? Oh, because your father told you, right, that we was over here and that you supposed to be the savior that has arrived. You supposed to come over here and get us, right? Okay. But you ended up disappearing, just like the trader. And there was no one to speak the language. So now the now Cypher I is running around talking about that you Farad that appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and then you disappeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad too. So you know what I'm saying? You appeared in the person and then you disappeared. That's some spook shit, yo. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that what the God of the Bible be doing? This nigga be popping up and he dip. But at the same time, when he comes, he always coming behind some kind of cloud, so he can't be seen. He's always standing in the back in the darkness and all of that, so he can't be seen. So F.Ood had came, but he was on the low. He was moving like an agent, using different names and stuff like that, and popping up in different places and da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Undetectable. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden he disappears, and there's no one to speak the language. See what I'm saying? So, wow, this F.Ood dude got the same characteristics as the trader. You know what I'm saying? And, with the promising of the gold, like I said, he came here and he got his gold and he disappeared. He received his gold. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? The people ain't got no gold. You know what I'm saying? Now, to go deeper into that, Elijah and F.Ood were also in the Moorish Science Temple. And you see Elijah with the Shriner's Fez, with the moon and star on it. Now I can't even say the Shriner's Fez because he didn't have a sword above his head, but you seen him with the moon and star on his fez, which goes to show you that he studied under the Moorish Science Temple, which means that he went through the whole status correction, as some may say, or the name correction and so forth, and corrected his name. That's why he became Elijah Bey. He went from Elijah Poole to Elijah Bey. Elijah Poole to Elijah Muhammad, then to Elijah Bey. You know what I'm saying? When he went through the Moorish Science Temple, he had the attribute of Bey. Now we know that's dealing with the Moors. You know what I'm saying? And this is why he was also able to give Muhammad Ali the attribute of Ali. You know what I'm saying? Which is also a Moorish last name. So he was able to do that because he had nationalized and went through the Moorish Science Temple, and he was able to nationalize Muhammad Ali and other members of the now Cypher I. But what took place was is that everybody didn't get nationalized, and that's why I'm saying, like, if they the nation of Islam, and you ask them, okay, well, what is your nationality? You know what I'm saying? Would they say Islam is my nationality? I thought Islam is your religion or your way of life. So is that necessarily your nationality? You know what I mean? So you have to go into that aspect and whatnot. So now you know so they nationalized, like I say, certain members of the now Cypher I nationalized, but they was only like they became like an elite among the now Cypher I, and not all the members of the NOI nationalized. They became registered Muslims. You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, then that means that Elijah would have opened up a trust, because now we're getting into the science of trust law and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother level of so forth. I ain't really want to drift too much from the thing, but you gotta know the information. You know what I'm saying? That would mean that the now Cypher I would have been dealing with some kind of trust and had all the property of the NOI members in that trust. That's why when Malcolm was going through the dispute over the house, and the house got burned down, and they tried to say, oh, well, he's on some he can't have it, nobody will type thing. No, that's because that property was under the Nation of Islam through their trust, under their trust. You know what I'm saying? Which means that it belonged to them. That property belongs to them. It wasn't in Malcolm's name. He didn't own that house. You know what I mean? And probably none of the NOI members owned any of their property because it was all under the trust of the NOI. You know what I mean? And they was dealing with the science of the Moorish Science Temple was dealing with, which was trust law, nationality, and so forth. But like I say, all of the registered members of the now Cypher I didn't necessarily nationalize. They registered as registered Muslims, but they didn't become nationals. See what I'm saying? Like Ali did when he got his attribute, Muhammad Ali, and and Malcolm said, you know what, I'm not going to wait on Elijah to do that anyway, because he gave Muhammad Ali a name, but he didn't give Malcolm a name. But Malcolm went and made his own Hajj, and he came back with his own name. You know what I'm saying? El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. You know what I'm saying? Meaning the pilgrimage king of the tribe of Shabazz. You know what I mean? So he made his own pilgrimage, and he came back with his own righteous name, or national name. You know what I'm saying? And then he came back and he started his own movement. You know what I'm saying? The United Muslim Mosque Incorporated, whatever it's called. So, he was trying to nationalize us too. And Malcolm came back and he taught us that we were Afro American. He was giving us a sense of nationality. And he said because of our afros, that's what makes us Afro American. And he gave us a common custom to unify about our hair. Our hair is a common custom. Just like you may see certain people wearing certain headdresses and so forth that denotes their connection to a certain group of people and so forth. So us being called Afro Americans mean if we had Afro textured hair, we are Afro Americans, and that would be our nationality. So Malcolm came back giving us a sense of nationality as well. Teaching us to nationalize ourselves. So, and not remain so called citizens or subjects of the United States. You know what I mean? So, anyway, Farad came, he did all of that, He came using all these different names and so forth. That's because he had nationalized, corrected his name, corrected his status, and was able to move in that type of way. Move like an agent. And so forth. So when he made his moves, he did what he did. He got his gold. Then he disappeared. Just like Farad, just like Elijah said, he disappeared. And when he disappeared, there was no one to speak the language. You know what I mean? So now, so you see why everything is trying to be like blamed toward the devil and take the attention off himself being the traitor and push everything. Oh no, the devil made them that way. The devil taught them to eat the wrong foods. Really? So why was you coming in people's home eating swine with them and then telling them about their ancient history? Wrong food, Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? Now, some people try to say, no, that was the agent Farad. That was the agent Farad. That was a fake Farad running around and da 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 da. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Now, we could go into the book Sheik Dodd versus Farad, written by Malachi Z. York, where he was breaking down the science of, showing the pictures of the real Farad with the high cheekbones, saying who looked like a light skinned brother, saying like a understanding seed, not like a culture seed, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? He was looking more so like an understanding seed with high cheekbones, showing he still had the Africoid features, the African features, the Asiatic features, you know what I mean? But he had a little lighter complexion due to the fact that he was supposed to be mixed with, the Caucasian mother. So, so that picture that they show of the slick hair man and all of that, if you do the knowledge, man, in some ways, for Elijah gave us a mystery God. He gave us Farad, and he used that as a bait to bring us into the lessons, because within the lessons it tells you that the original black man is God. You know what I'm saying? Not the half original man. You know what I mean? So if that's the case, then we gotta know that, like I say, wrongful Muhammad is not Allah. You know what I mean? And this is why I don't take no personal way or feel no kind of way or emotionally about this, breaking this down, because I can see it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Um, so, why is he like the devil? Because the devil planted fear in him when he was a little boy. Why does he fear the devil now that he's a big man? Because the devil told him to eat the wrong foods. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Yes, that made him other than his own self. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. Do you mean to say there are Muslims other than righteous? I beg your pardon, I never heard of one. Are there any Muslims other than righteous? I beg your pardon, never heard of one. How many Muslim sons are there in North America? So the Muslim sons, as we know, are the ones who have to study from 35 to 50 years before they can clean themselves up, come amongst us, call themselves a Muslim son, saying, and wear the greatest and only flag. And they got to put a sword above the flag and hold the secret, keep the secret, or get their head taken off by the sword. So that was the science of, you know, the labored Masons. You know what I mean? Now somebody said that that Muslim refers to the woman. Now I understand that breakdown. Like, when you get metaphysical with it, you know what I'm saying? You want to get metaphysical with the understanding, and you say things like, yeah, the Muslim is the woman because she submits to do the will of Allah. Fact, I understand that completely. I understand that. However, when we're speaking about these particular lessons, the Muslim sons referred to in this lesson, the English lesson 1 to 36, is not referring to women. You know what I'm saying? I was building with my god brother the other day, and he was trying to get slick with it too. He tried to justify what he was saying because he was like, Muslim, saying Mason, saying is my son, what I'm saying, and like we know all the breakdowns and all of that and so forth and so forth. But when it comes to the knowledge equality degree, when it's speaking about um, the 5% are the poor righteous teachers who do not believe in the teachings of the 10%, who are all wise and know who the true and living God is, and teach that the true and living God is the Son of Man, supreme being, black men of Asia, who teach freedom, justice, and equality to all human families of the planet Earth, otherwise known as civilized people, also Muslims and Muslim sons. Now, it's not saying that civilized people, Muslims and Muslim sons, are of the 5%. It's saying that the 5% teach freedom, justice, and equality to all human families of the planet Earth who are otherwise known as civilized people, Muslims and Muslim sons, meaning those human families of the planet Earth who we teach freedom, justice, and equality to, they are known as civilized people, also Muslims and Muslim sons. It's not saying that civilized people, Muslims, and Muslim sons are part of the 5%. See what I'm saying? There's a distinction. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm getting people to recognize the distinction in things. You know what I mean? Distinction means to recognize the polar opposites or the differences in two factors. You know what I mean? Or two or more factors. So So that was the purpose of that right there. Not to say we are Muslims, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we are Muslims, and I'm not saying the gods are Muslims. I'm saying that in these lessons, which are Muslim lessons, because you know how some gods be like, those ain't Muslim lessons, those are lessons. Okay, God, but it says right on top of the degree, I mean, it says lost found Muslim lessons. You know what I'm saying? Don't say lost found 5% of lessons. Don't say lost found God lessons. Just say lost found Muslim lessons. So these are Muslim lessons. So therefore they pertain to the Muslims per se, however, as the gods, but they also pertain to the gods because the gods are spoken of in these lessons. So when it goes into the understanding degrees, when it says like, do you hope to live to see the day when the gods will take the devil into hell in the very near future? You know what I'm saying? It says the gods will do so. You know what I mean? And then it also says Allah in his own good time will take the devil off the planet. So Allah in his own good time is speaking of the gods collectively. When it says Allah, it's speaking of the gods collectively. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes for us to come together collectively on one plane of thought as a real nation. You know what I'm saying? Collectively. So so I'm saying, the now type of eye, man, you know what I mean? They got their understanding of the lessons, but being that we got the mathematics, you know what I'm saying? See, I was breaking these things down mathematically too. How being that we got the mathematics, we can understand and bring a more clearer picture to these lessons. You know what I'm saying? To these Muslim lessons, because remember they are lost found Muslim lessons. So who lost them and who found them? You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of cats in the now cipher eye, they might have lost them, in the sense that they might have dropped the ball and dropped on their knees and started praying because they got caught too much in the Quran, in the Bible, and not understanding that who wrote the Holy Quran or Bible. You know what I'm saying? As they say, the original man, who is Allah, the supreme being, a black man of Asia. So if Allah is the original man who wrote the Holy Quran or Bible, why are you reading the Quran and then falling on your knees and praying to a mystery Allah or a mystery God? When the lessons clearly teach that there is no mystery God. The only God is the Son of Man. You know what I mean? And the Son of Man that searched for that mystery God for trillions of years was unable to find that mystery God. So we have agreed that the only God is the Son of Man. So we lose no time searching for that which does not exist. So the now cipher eye, they still wasting time. If you ask me, searching for that which does not exist. Because if you don't know that you are Allah, and you still praying to a wrong food Muhammad that's on your wall, because nobody ever seen this man. Nobody has any actual interaction with this man or anything like that, or any of his children or fruit or people except for Elijah. And even Elijah is not even here anymore. So, you know what I mean? And some of those followers that was in that Allah Temple number 7, that say that they've seen Farad. Them brothers ain't here from 1934. You know what I'm saying? Way back then. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them brothers ain't even here. And if they are, then, you know what I mean, guess we could only go on for what they got to say or whatever, pertaining to Farad. Because Elijah's not here to say it. And he himself is not. Farad himself ain't here to say. So it's like, it's kind of mysterious to me. So now that the Father brought us the knowledge, he brought us the mathematics, the alphabet, and the lessons. The mathematics is the key to unlock these hidden esoteric meanings within the lessons. You know what I'm saying? Like we doing now. You know what I'm saying? And to see it for what it truly is and not for what it appears to be. So a lot of things appear to be a certain way, but when you go back over it and you reanalyze it, you might see it in another way. So that's why I wasn't afraid to ask questions, just like Elijah wasn't afraid to ask Farad questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does he like the devil? You know what I'm saying? Because the devil planted fear in him when he was a little boy. Why does he fear the devil now that he's a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong foods. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Yes, that made him other than his own self. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. Are there any Muslims other than righteous? I beg your pardon, I never heard of one. Why you never heard of one? You don't want Elijah to know about those those approximate 300 million laborers who are studying to try to do like the original man, or maybe Elijah didn't know about the lodge at this time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he wasn't aware of that at this time. You know what I mean? But he knew he knew that you wasn't saying the right thing. You know what I'm saying? He was able to question you and see that you wasn't on point as you try to persuade him, and then you try to drift it off to the devil, and oh yeah, the devil made them that way when they were babies, and and da 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 da. But wait a minute, how the devil make them that way when they were babies? You know what I'm saying? How do you know that? You know what I'm saying? You wasn't over here, and none of your peoples was over here. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. And you said that happened 379 years ago. You just supposedly found out 60 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And how old was he when he came? You know what I'm saying? So how long was you in the know of whatever is going on? You know what I'm saying? Because if that happened 379 years ago and you found out just 60 years ago, or approximately 60 years ago, then you don't really know what happened. You know what I'm saying? You wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know. But anyway, I just went back and with a fine tooth comb and really combed through this, man, and really see like who's on point with what they're saying and why are they saying what they're saying. You know what I mean? Like, is this dude trying to hide something? He keeps diverting this to the devil and da 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 da, and he never heard of one. But then there's 300 million, and then on top of that, then he say that some of the 17 million do not know that they're Muslims. So some of the 17 million don't even know. And why don't they know? Oh, well, they were made blind, deaf, and dumb by the devil when they were babies. Can the devil fool a Muslim? No, not nowadays. So you mean to tell me not nowadays? Okay. So do you mean to say the devil fooled them 379 years ago? Yes, the trader made an interpretation that they will receive more gold for their labor, which was more than they were earning. How do you know that? Where did you get that information from? Because according to you, your people didn't even know they was over here 379 years ago. They just found out 60 years ago, approximately 60 years ago. So where did you get this information from? Who came back and told you all these details? You know what I'm saying? Or was you the actual one, you know what I'm saying, doing this in the details? You know what I'm saying? And you did it in your own way, you know what I'm saying, as far as you coming over here, like I say, being a silk peddler, peace to Sturma in the building, peace to Marcus DePorus in the building, peace to Bar Kim in the building. Peace to Tosh Muhammad in the building. Peace to Rashad Giles in the building. Peace to Stevie Willis Jr. in the building. Peace to Kashim in the building. So, oh yeah. Now that brings me back to what I was saying about my brother when he was trying to say about the knowledge equality degree. And he was like, yeah, see, so Muslims is the woman, and then the Muslim son, that's the babies. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, man, that's not what it's saying, man. That is not what it's referring to. Knowledge equality degree is not referring to women and children. You know what I'm saying? Because if that's the case, then that would mean that like we're civilizing our. I mean, yeah, of course that's what it is. We are civilizing ourselves, but it's saying that like if it's to say that they're making the distinction that the 5% are the ones who teach freedom, justice, and equality to all human families of the planet Earth, it means that we must be a particular group of people who teach these things to all human families of the planet Earth, which are obviously outside of our quote unquote family or nation. You know what I mean? We teach these things to other people to civilize them. You know what I mean? And so forth. So, so the civilized people, the Muslims and Muslim sons, are not referring to us because it's not saying that the 5% teach freedom, justice, and equality to their own selves and call themselves civilized people, Muslims and Muslim sons. Because we know that and just within that itself, we know that the Muslims are not quote unquote 5%ers. They don't call themselves 5%ers. They don't, saying they might understand the science of the 5%. There's some brothers in the now say for I that do understand the lessons. Not saying they all don't understand. You know what I'm saying? They all not lost. It's a lot of them that's found. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of them that found these lessons in their right state of mind. Um, you know, 'cause you got a lot of brothers in the now say for I. They might still be in the, have their loyalty to the mosque, but they know the mathematics and they know the lessons and they know the black man is God like thoroughly, and they not, they might be going through the motions and all of that as far as in the temple, but a lot of them brothers want to get out of the temple and they want to come and build with the gods. But a lot of them might be caught up in loyalties to their family members or whoever they're in the mosque with, or whatever the case may be. But you know what I'm saying, a lot of them brothers, they salute the gods and they know what time it is, you know what I'm saying? And they themselves, what I'm saying, you might call them Muslim gods, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes a lot of brothers call them Muslim gods. You know what I'm saying? They Muslim gods. I mean they still in the temple, but they know they God, you know what I'm saying? You know. But so anyway, I'm just send this back. So due to the fact, and even in this degree, when they refer to Muslim sons, they're referring to, saying, because like I said, I keep it strictly, just like, when you're dealing with a Christian and you going through the Bible and like, yo, I'm going to stick strictly to the scripture. We're not going to deviate from the scripture. We're not going to take away. We're not going to add on. You know what I'm saying? We could study to show our own self-approval. You know what I'm saying? We could show, how we see things, of course. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to take away. We're not going to add on. We're going to keep it for what it is. And then we can add our understanding to it, you know what I'm saying, and so forth. You know what I mean? But we're not going to add on to the actual wording. You know what I mean? Now, as far as now, and now also too, now we're going into grammatical errors because if you compare the supreme wisdom of Elijah Muhammad to the 120 lessons that the Father gave to us, then you would see a lot of grammatical errors that were corrected. You know what I mean? And I'm not just talking about like taking skunk out the lessons, but I'm talking about like as far as you know things like when you come to that degree of the knowledge God degree or the knowledge Bill degree, when they say not a savage in pursuit of happiness, technically it's and not a savage, comma or semicolon, pursuit of happiness, as in pursuit of happiness is one of the definitions of civilization. But some brothers say not a savage in pursuit of happiness, and it becomes like a run-on sentence. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta like grammatically correct that and put it in its proper context, because one word can change a nation. And when you're dealing with English, you have sentences, you have commas, you have semicolons, you have colons, you have apostrophe, you have all these different things to denote different aspects of the language, and you gotta like follow the rules of the English language. Otherwise, you're not speaking English. So And who am I to say that? Because this is what? An English lesson, right? So we're supposed to know the English language. And if we know the English language properly, then we'll put things in their proper context. You know what I'm saying? And not just be like, oh, well, like, just making up stuff. Can't freestyles, make up shit. You know what I mean? But, yeah, so, like I said, if you ask me who the trader was in the 1 to 36, that 36 degree, understanding cipher, understanding quality degree, points back to F.Ood himself. So approximately 60 years would take you back to 1877, which is the birth date of F.Ood Muhammad, and then that would make him be the savior, and then I say it loops back to the knowledge degree, it borns back to the knowledge degree. My name is W.F. Muhammad. I came to North America by myself, and da 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 da. So really, like as this beginning of the story is showing you how he leads himself into it all. You know what I mean? And once F.Ood started dissecting who the traitor really was, which was his ass, you know what I'm saying? Then he started switching it up. Oh no, the devil, y'all blame it on the devil. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. But you try to cover up for the devil at first by saying you never heard of a Muslim other than righteous. But why don't you tell us that you got these Caucasians in the lodge studying from 35 to 50 years to try to do like the original man? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you tell us that you got this Musa operation going on over here? You trying to civilize, and they trying to civilize and reform the devil in the lodge, knowing that the devil can't be reformed. You know what I'm saying? They trying to reform him in the lodge and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got dudes like Farrakhan talk about, I believe in brotherhood. I believe that Muslims and Christians and Jews could come together in a brotherhood. Wait a minute, Farrakhan. I thought the white man's the devil. And haven't you preached so many times about the scripture of where Jesus is calling them the synagogue of Satan? He's saying that the Jews are the synagogue of Satan and all of that. You preached so hard on that for so many years. But now all of a sudden, that the big brothers in the lodge then sat you down and told you, listen, Farrakhan, this is the new direction of where we're going. And we need you to put everybody on notice. So now, all of a sudden, the Nation of Islam, the now Cypher I, has merged with Scientology. Where does this come about? And why do the registered Muslims, because they registered, and remember, when you registered, that means that you are someone's property. You are registered. You're someone's property. And when you're registered, that means that the owner of the property can do what he please with the property. So just like Joe Biden is selling out the American people to communist China and communist Russia, same way the now Cypher I could sell you out to Scientology. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now all of a sudden, the members of the now Cypher I, they study what's called Dianetics, and they go through what they call clearing. They have to get cleared, which means you have to get a mental analysis, a mental check to see that your brain is cleared through the doctrine of Scientology called Dianetics, which was funded by Ron L. Hubbard, who's a known racist, who said that the South African is impossible to teach, and we know that civilization starts in South Africa and all of that, and pushed up to the Nile Valley civilization and so forth, which flourished. So, and also, which brings me to the culture degree when they say the root of civilization is in Arabia. You know what I'm saying? For real, is it? And is Europe West Asia, or if you look on a map, it looks like it's North Asia, if anything, because it's above Asia, not to the west of Asia, unless you're considering Russia to be part of Asia, because Russia is like is east of Europe, which covers the eastern side of Europe. So if West Asia so if Europe is West Asia, then no, that's not geographically correct. Like, look on the map and you'll see that as well. So I'm not trying to defy the lessons. I'm not trying to, I'm trying to give you a critical lens. Like, I put my critical lens on because I'm not blinded and I'm not indoctrinated by the lessons. And remember, even Elijah said that these, on the top of the 1 to 40, examination test of Mr. Elijah Muhammad. Let's see where it's at. Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2. It's a spam thing. It's a spam thing, man. It's a spam thing. No, let me see, cause she had a name. Anyway. So, Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2, 1 to 40. This lesson is answered very near correct. It didn't say 100% right and exact. It said very near correct. And all students should read and study until he or she can recite by heart. You know what I'm saying? First examination assignment of Mr. Elijah Muhammad. So, yeah, these questions, this lesson is answered very near correct. So he himself knew that it wasn't 100% right and exact, and I would assume that's why that's put up there on the top. But however, now that means that if all students are required to should read and study until he or she can recite by heart, are we reciting by heart something that's very near correct? You know what I'm saying? So shouldn't we to be, pure in heart, because they say those who are pure in heart shall see God and all that, right? Anyway, shouldn't we make it all correct? Or should we make it 100% right? Is that because in the knowledge degree, who made the Holy Quran and Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us why this Islam newest history every 25 years? It says the Holy Quran and Bible is made by the original people, who is Allah, the supreme being, or black man of Asia. The Quran will expire in the year 25,000, which is 9,980 years from the date of this writing. Now, in the Now Cipher I, Supreme Wisdom Lessons, it says 9,080 years from the date of this writing. Yeah, the following question should be answered by Lord Messiah, Master Asiatic Allah. Peace. But yeah, so it says 9,080 years from the date of this writing. Now we know when you do the math that it's actually 900. It's 9,980 years from the date of this writing. So I'm pretty sure many of y'all, the gods know y'all have corrected that in your lessons. So that just goes to show you, you know what I mean, how you have to be very careful. Now, let's just say if you were a registered Muslim and you were just a follower and you was just reciting lessons. That's why I put up that thing where, have you ever heard the God say a parrot can quote 120? Yeah, because a lot of brothers be quoting lessons, don't even understand them. You know what I'm saying? Have no understanding of the lessons. You're just quoting lessons, going through the motions, being a follower, quoting lessons. Yeah, the original man is the Asiatic black man. And okay. You know what I'm saying? Stop quoting and understand. Understand and overstand. You know what I mean? So, and Pete, right? Because it says that now right after if you, let's say you were reading the Supreme Wisdom and it said 9,080 years from the date of this writing, and that number wasn't right in exact. The next line will tell you that the Nation of Islam, or the Now Cipher I, is all wise and does everything right and exact. So if we do everything right and exact, then that means that number should be correct. That number should be right and exact. It shouldn't say 9,080 years. It should say 9,980 years. So this is why it says this is answered very near correct. And maybe that was a test to his students to be like, yo, man, are y'all taking this on face value? Because the lessons say don't take anything. 85% take things on face value. So are y'all taking this on face value, or are y'all studying to make sure that these things is 100% right and exact? So if we never did the study, we would have never noticed that didn't add up. You know what I'm saying? So whoever was the first God or Muslim to realize that, I wonder did they bring it to Elijah and be like, yo, this is because still to this day, if you get a supreme wisdom, it's not corrected. It's still saying the same thing. So, I mean, if we able to change that, then what else are we able to change? Or what else should we change? Or should we modify to make it right and exact? Now we say, like I say, not taking away from the lessons or adding on. So this is why we say in our own understanding, in my mathematical understanding, I know what these lessons really mean. In my mind, I know what they really mean and what they really saying. But for what it says on the paper, I guess we'll just go through the motions and quote lessons and sound like parrots amongst each other and congratulate each other when we know how to quote them and recite them by heart. You know what I'm saying? But not really going into the intricacy of every word. You know what I'm saying? Because as we say, one word can change a nation, right? So you got to study these lessons word for word. You know what I'm saying? And really go in and break it down intricately. So, you know, like I say, man, I could go on and on and on and on and on. I don't want to hold y'all forever on this audio. But this is just a part 2 of the Wrong Food Muhammad correction of the lessons. And this is what I wanted y'all to see. You know what I'm saying? And, if y'all want to build, we can elaborate more on the topic as well. Peace to the nation of gods and earths. And peace to the positive people in the universe. On that note, peace.